Tone, it's time for the return of maybe the most popular item on this show. Which cricketer has said something stupid on Twitter now? This week, we're talking about Stuart Broad. I'll read you this article from the Daily Telegraph. The Daily Telegraph. Stuart Broad faces criticism for Twitter comments appearing to tell minimum wage earners to be humble. Bowler provokes backlash after tweet about people earning the minimum wage. Did you see this story, Tone? Were you aware of this story?
I did. I don't really want to talk about it, but carry on. Yeah.
I told you before the show that you'd be talking about it, and you said, I don't want to talk about that. Stuart Broad faced criticism for comments on Twitter when he appeared to tell people earning the minimum wage to be humble. Broad, who earns close to £1 million per year as a centrally contracted cricketer and lists 6 sponsors on his website, tweeted, quote, I've heard if you earn minimum wage in England, you're in the top 10% earners in the world. #stay, #humble. It provoked a backlash, as well as accusations of hypocrisy. I think the backlash consisted of accusations of hypocrisy, but, quote, it's a pretty daft thing to say. Poverty is relative, after all, and something Oakham boy Stuart Broad has never experienced, wrote Twitter user Eddie Hogg, while Piers Morgan called him woefully elitist. Broad attempted to clarify his tweet 5 hours later. Quote, I merely wanted to emphasise my amazement at just how big the world is. No offence meant, and sorry if any taken. The hashtag was aimed at myself. So, Tone, when listeners saw this story, I know that their first instinct would have been, bloody hell, I want to condemn him, or bloody hell, I want to exonerate him. But either way, first of all, I need to know what Tony Kerr makes of it over at the World Cricket Show. So, what was your reaction to this story, Tony?
Non-story. Complete non-story. I mean, on so many levels.
Give us a few of the levels.
Well, firstly, I do find it slightly boring already. You know, Twitter's not been around that long, but I've been pretty bored for a while of stories which just consist of telling the story of, you know, someone tweeting and what people responding to it. You know, I don't really care, to be perfectly honest. I don't care what Piers Morgan... That's annoyed me. I didn't know he'd weighed in.
Of course he has.
He can literally do one. And hard and fast, hopefully.
Piers Morgan can peers off, if you ask me.
That's quite good.
Thanks, I'll tweet that now.
But it's non-story, isn't it? Like, it's not even it's not that is it that controversial? Is it busy being that elitist? It is an interesting... Well, I don't know why he's tweeting it. I don't really know what his followers... are they going to him looking for kind of... stats about the world demographics,
economic analysis.
Yeah, I don't think so. So he's pitching it wrong.
Yeah,
but
well, yeah, I completely agree that he shouldn't have tweeted it from the perspective of what was he thinking. This was obviously going to happen. I think the main problem is the hashtags, isn't it? If he just tweeted that fact and even said something like, "Wow, that's incredible," I don't think anyone would have picked up on it. It's the fact that he wrote #stay, #humble. Don't say #stay, #humble.
Okay, yeah, don't do that.
That's annoying. But also, the fact that he was saying stay humble, he says he was talking to himself, but if you're talking to yourself, don't post it on Twitter. But yeah, it does read, doesn't it, as though he's telling everyone else.
No,
he's telling the people on minimum wage that they should stay humble. But
I don't think so.
I agree with you that I do get extremely frustrated by the kind of instant outrage that erupts on Twitter all the time. Yeah, I don't know if you remember Joey Barton being on Question Time last year, and he made some gaffe, which was a gaffe for sure, about the choice between the political parties being like choosing between 3 ugly women, I think, which obviously was an incredibly crass and stupid thing to say. But someone in the audience actually, put their hand up and said, I can't believe you've just said that. You're going to get buried for it on Twitter. And it's like there is this kind of palpable sense of glee that people really enjoy, really get a kick out of being outraged and of trying to cut someone down and ruin their life because of something they said. And, I read that Stuart Broad tweet. I happened to be on Twitter at the time. I read it about 3 or 4 seconds after he posted it. And I could almost hear the outrage exploding.
Out of your own mouth.
Exactly. It's like I can hear it.
Yeah. Just kind of semi-conscious.
Stuart Broad, the fucking toff. What the fuck is he thinking? So yeah, it's not to say that these people are wrong. Like,
they are in a bit.
No. It's in the sense that I think Broad was wrong to say what he says. Like the fact that he's talking about may well be true. I think it is true. But the stay humble thing, I don't think he should have said. But can we all just relax?
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone
really
just
not.
chill out. It wasn't a clever thing to say, but you don't have to try and ruin his life over it.
Just move on, just forget about it. Yeah, I agree. There's the whole thing about offence is now like it's a right of people. It's like I'm not allowed to offend. Yeah, we're getting this is like kind of free speech territory here. But it is slightly annoying that
Chris Wee Stewart.
I'm not like no one's allowed to offend anyone anymore. It's like okay, if I say something like you're an idiot. You're welcome to be offended by that.
Well, I'm already tweeting about it.
But Adam Bayford is, a bloody fool.
Yeah.
For hosting this podcast for the best part of 4 or 5 years.
That's a dreadful understatement as well. That's an alarming understatement. It's closer to 7.
But it's just like, I don't know. You have a right to think like, oh, you're an idiot, but you don't have a right to shut me up.
Well, not only that, but...
Well, that's not really a great example, is it? I've not really thought about it.
I've not really thought it through. But, no, you have a right to be offended, and you have a right to express the fact that you feel offended, but just calm down a bit. And a lot of these people that are so offended, they may well be right in thinking that what he said was stupid, but just calm down. And you don't have to they're just visibly enjoying the fact that they get to kind of take aim at someone who is earning all the money and who is in a much more privileged position. I mean, the thing is, I don't think he is wrong on the basic fact in the sense that on the stats, if you earn the minimum wage, you are in the top 10% of the earners in the world. And given that in 2015 we're much more materially well off than at any point in human history, if you're on the minimum wage in the UK, you're better off than about 99% of the people who have ever lived. In that sense, he's right to think that is amazing. But of course, wealth is relative and it's about spending power, isn't it? If you could be a millionaire, but if a loaf of bread costs £1 million, that's not very useful. It doesn't really matter how much money you earn. This is like an economics lesson, isn't it? I should be some kind of professor. So I think the fact is correct. He perhaps didn't understand it as fully as he might have done. He definitely shouldn't have said stay humble, but people just need to take a chill pill.
Oh, just get on with it. I mean...
Can we all just chill out, please?
Just just laugh stuff off. I don't know. Maybe that's offensive. I don't know. Hashtag laugh, hashtag it, hashtag off. No. I am rapidly turning into a grumpy old man, has to be said. Just watching the news at 10 has the power to just wind me up about most things, really. Almost every item is annoying at this stage of my life. Well, I just want to go back to being a kid where you're just like, wow, like things like... Whereas now it's just like, it's just depressing tragedies.
Things. Look at this thing. And there's another thing.
Yeah, it's true though. It's just like anything. It'd be like, oh...
What you want, Tane, is to just go back to being 9 years old and just riding a bike around the field, isn't it? That's what you want.
Not annoyed about anything.